Imagine focusing only on the best parts of your business while it keeps growing without you. That's possible when you install the right systems. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 systems that have transformed my business and hundreds of others, making growth automatic and freeing up your time for what matters most. Picture it like a ladder. Each system will help you climb the ladder higher and higher, freeing up more of your time and energy as you go. Now, the higher you climb, the more your business will run without you, and the more that you will get back for the things that you love, whether that's riding the trails and or spending time with your family. So let's hit the trail with the very first system, the one at the base of the ladder. Now, here's the brutal truth. Most founders are so busy pedaling uphill that they don't even notice that they're the ones dragging the brakes. Now, the biggest bottleneck in your business, it's not your team, it's not your clients, or even your tech stack. It's you. If you're wiped out and scattered or stuck in the mud, your business will grind to a halt. Think about it like mountain biking, because that's how I think about things. You can have the best bike on the market, top notch, all the gear, the perfect trail. But if the rider, which is you, is exhausted or off course, you're not going to get anywhere fast. The bike is only as good as the person that's pedaling it. And let me tell you, I learned this the hard way. I love mountain biking. Nothing clears my head like hitting the trails. But somewhere along the way, I blinked and I realized that I hadn't been on my bike in years. I'd let the business fill up every single slot in my calendar when I wasn't with family. Mornings, nights, weekends, work crept into every little corner. I was showing up running on empty for my family, for my team, and my clients. And that's actually when it hit me. I wasn't just the founder. I was the bottleneck holding everyone, including myself, back. So system number 1 is the founder operating system. This is the system that got me back in the saddle, literally and figuratively. It's made up of 3 essential parts. So here's how to apply part 1 of the founder operating system, which is that business lifestyle return. So I really want you to look at your business, the return that you're going to get on your business through the 3 lenses of time, energy, and money. Now we have a section for category, but we're not going to dive into that right now. For the time, I want you to ask yourself, like, what does your ideal schedule look like each week? You know, for me, Mondays, I don't have calls. Wednesday afternoons, I take off to go riding. Friday, I don't take calls, and I don't really work unless I want to, because that day is dedicated for riding and any other maybe creative projects. So I have rules. I also need to end all of my days around 3:30 or 4 for pickup duty, because I design my business to be able to take my kids to and from school every single day. So you want to design what your ideal schedule looks like for the business that you're creating. Then you want to look from the energy perspective, like in the time where you're working, like what roles do you want to play in your business? For me, it's I want to spend time creating videos like this, like marketing content, creating content, and also serving our clients. That might be on our coaching calls or doing one-on-one VIP days, or actually creating new training and systems for our clients to win faster. Most of my week, most of my role, I want to be designed on those 2 things. It's mostly there today. I do have to, wear a couple other hats, but once I know where I want to spend my time and energy and what roles that looks like, then I get to identify, well, what sort of team members do I need to do those other roles that I don't want nothing to do with? And lastly, do you have any other rules for your business? For example, in my business, I want there to be in-person components because I like being in the same room as my clients. So I'm intentionally weaving in-person touch points into my business because it lights me up. All right. So like, what are other rules you have for your business? And then lastly, if your time and energy are exactly as you've designed, what is the least amount of money that you're willing to take home that would make doing this worth it? Now I say least amount of money because I like to plan this for the floor, because as long as I am living my ideal week and spending my energy on the things that I want to spend them on, I'm willing to make at least this much money because that's what makes it worth it. That doesn't mean I can't make more, or I'm going to try to make more, because I totally will and I want to, but like, I want to know, it's like, what is the minimum viable for me to like justify doing all of this stuff? Okay. And then if there's any other business accolades or, vanity metrics that do matter to you for whatever reason, you can jot those down. So that's part 1. Part 2 is the perfect week system. And this is where you protect your best energy. I like to keep it simple and use the maker manager framework that Paul Graham talked about, which is basically, what of your time is maker time, which is creativity, and what time is management time, admin, and all that stuff. I like to try to do maker time in the mornings, management time in the afternoons. Now, we give our clients a little bit more granularity on how they can bucket their time because they need time for their most important thing. Self-care. Many of our clients have families, so they look at, where on my calendar is my family time. I have blocks for where I'm spending time with family. And then we got to break out some of the activities like marketing and sales, management and meeting, and then any other like client delivery. So we do weaponize our clients with a little bit more of an in-depth planning system, but simply look at it as maker and or manager. And the advantage here is that you are basically blocking off your calendar for those focused work so that you have limited distractions and or no distractions ideally. And then you're guarding this time like you would, guard your favorite trail from the weekend crowds. Okay. Now, part 3 of the founder operating system is what we call the calm cycle. Communication can turn into a never-ending uphill slog. So you really need to set boundaries. Asynchronous check-ins, Monday priorities, Friday wrap-ups. Keep the team rolling without constant derailment. So here's how to do this. Grab a piece of paper, split it down the middle. On the left side is when and how do you communicate with clients, right? External. When do they talk to you? What time of day? What days? At what frequency? For how long? On what medium and what platform? Where do they ask questions? Where do they get their reports? Where do they go if there's an emergency? By the way, what is an emergency? Have you defined what an emergency is? That should be clearly defined. And then is there any other miscellaneous things? Then you do the same thing for your clients. When do they talk to you? For how long? How do they ask questions, reports, emergencies, etc.? So for example, for us, I don't want to have many internal meetings. We have very few internal meetings. I have one recurring meeting every single week, and we do a lot of asynchronous updates with video and or in Slack. So save meetings for when you actually need to steer the group. If you're a lean team, you don't need as many meetings as you think you do. Now that you, the founder, are showing up at your best, it's time to make sure your clients can get results with the minimum amount of you without having to micromanage every single step. So here's the next big roadblock that most agencies run into. They can only grow as fast as the founder can juggle the client work. If every client needs your hands-on magic, you're not running a business, you're running yourself ragged. Think about it like mountain biking with a group. If you're the only one who knows the trail, everyone else is stopping every few minutes to ask for directions. You can't enjoy the ride. You're stuck playing tour guide. But when everyone has a map and knows the checkpoints, the whole group actually will move faster and you get to focus on the scenery or hit a few of those jumps on your own. Now that brings us to system number 2, which is the client delivery system or the client success system. This is how you get clients results without being in the weeds for every single decision. Now there's really a few key pieces here. First, there is the onboarding. Right? The onboarding engine is making sure that you start every client off right with a repeatable, standardized process. It could be a killer welcome kit, setting up clear expectations, and really a very structured first call. No more reinventing the wheel every single time. So how I like to do it is kind of split my onboarding into 2 key pieces. First is the pre-work. Now the pre-work is a video and or instructions that the client will go through that kind of get them on the same page as us, set the tone, set expectations for how we will support them, what an emergency is, how they navigate the different tools that they're going to be using as they're moving through our process. And then we have the second part, which is a kickoff call. So most of our clients use a similar process. They will have some sort of asynchronous, hey, prep all of this stuff. Let's get on the same page, understand that we're speaking the same language, and then let's have a kickoff call experience. This alone saves hours and sets a tone for a smooth partnership. Now, the next piece of the system is really the support, and I'll just say deliverability or the delivery of the actual work, right? Here's where you're making progress happen, right? Without having to hover. I use what we call the C4 matrix. The first C is curriculum, what they need to learn. The second is customization, how we're gonna tailor it to their goals. The third is community, so that they're not doing it alone. And the last piece is continuity, which is how are we checking in and providing iterative feedback so that it continue to make progress. Now, we always map out our productized offers into a series of steps. So here you can see that there's a series of steps that we're moving a client through in this, fictitious example. But the key components, right? The C4, we have our curriculum, which is the first C right here. And we might have in version 1, we might deliver live training on a Monday, right? So if this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, what days are we delivering live training? Maybe your training is all on demand and they can go through it. Then we have customization, which could be you have, office hours on a Thursday, and then maybe you do like implementation help on Tuesdays, right? So these are different ways in which you can have customization. Then you have your community, which is obviously asynchronous. People are engaging with their peers 24/7 and you. And then you have the continuity, which these are milestone checkpoints that you've designed based on your actual delivery process that are strategically aligned with making sure that your client's moving through on time. This whole piece of the system is about how to get clients the right support at the right time without you being glued to your inbox. So that's how we would set it up. We look at it as these two distinct pieces. And the last piece, if you're curious, is really about kind of the ascension. Do we upgrade them, downgrade them? Do we exit? Do we walk away? How do we, cross-sell them, et cetera? How do we continue the relationship beyond the end of the initial delivery project? So for you, I think you want to make sure that you set up regular check-ins. Again, these could be asynchronous. You want to give clients a place to ask questions, like a Slack channel or some sort of a forum. By the way, if you just do this alone, you'll get tons of those ancillary one-off random requests that hit your phone number or your own personal email to almost disappear because you've guided them to these sorts of places to ask questions. And then you want to have some sort of progress tracker that's keeping track of them moving through this process. Now, with client delivery dialed in, let's talk about the next big gear shift, sales. Because if you're still the only one hustling to close every single deal, you're stuck pedaling in place. Most founders that I've met dread sales because it feels like chasing people down or twisting arms. And if every new client depends on your personal pitch, you're trapped. The goal here is that sales happen smoothly, even when you're not there to push really hard. Picture this, you're leading a group ride, but you're also the only one fixing flat tires, handing out water, and checking everyone's brakes. Not only do you never get to enjoy the trail, but you're exhausted by the end. Wouldn't it be better if everyone had what they needed before the climb so that you could actually focus on your own ride? That's exactly where I found myself in sales. I was dragging everyone onto these long 60-minute calls only to realize early on that most of these people weren't qualified. So I made a change. First, I switched to a quick, no pressure call just to gauge fit and respect both of our time. Now, for those who were a match, I sent everything they needed, case studies, FAQs, all the details before the real consultation call happened, which was a second call. Now, that way, the next call was all about them. It was about their questions, their needs. The conversations got shorter, they got sharper, and honestly, they got a lot more fun. And I've got a big chunk of my time back because what was a 45-minute call was able to be done in 20 because they consumed all that information beforehand. System number 3 is the sales system. We call this the consultation engine. So here's how to apply it. So this is where people book a call and answer a couple questions, okay? Now, before they actually get on that call, you can have some content go to them that might share a little bit about you, how you work, some background. Really, this is to prep them for the conversation, let them know a little bit about what you're about. Then you have the discovery call. On this call, it's about fit. Is this person a fit for the productized offer that you're about to sell them? If they are not, you part ways as friends and you try to point them in the right direction. If they are qualified for what you offer, what you're going to do is you're going to say, hey, I'm going to send you a bunch of assets. I'm going to send you a document. It's going to explain everything we do in our service and answer a ton of the questions so that on our call, we can spend it all around focusing on you. So you're going to send them this asset. Now, this could be a sales page. This could be a Notion document. You could have a video in it. Ours has a video with a bunch of information, the pricing, answers a lot of the commonly asked questions that they're reviewing before the real consultation call. Now, on the consultation call, the people that have actually reviewed this document, this call that is normally 45 to 60 minutes ends up being, really, really short. It usually ends up being, 20 to 30, because we're just talking about how does our system and our productized offer apply to their specific needs? And again, if it's a good fit, we invite them to pay and get started. And if they're not a good fit, we try to find the next best steps. That means maybe we follow up with them a little bit later, or maybe they're actually not the best fit for our offer and we missed it on a discovery call, and then we just try to point them in the right direction. Now, something I want to point out here is what I call the consultation assets. It's these two pieces of information that allow you to, as the founder, not have to carry the whole load yourself. If you use case studies, FAQ sheets, intro videos, roadmaps that answer the common questions, it actually will build trust before the different parts of your call, both the discovery and the actual consultation. Now, what I've found for myself and our clients is this is what has created a sales experience without that sales pressure. Clients feel supported. You actually will close more deals as you get it dialed in, and you get your time back, and most importantly, your sanity back. So with sales running on autopilot, let's talk about how you actually get prospects lining up for these calls without chasing them down like a desperate mountain biker lost in the woods. Most agencies are stuck in that client chase, right? The cold emails, the awkward DMs, and that sinking feeling when your calendar is empty. But let's be honest. Have you ever seen a true expert cold DMing random people for business? I've never had an expert actually DM me. The best, they don't chase, they actually attract. It's like being the rider that everyone wants to follow on the trail. You're not shouting, hey, wait up, guys. The guys I ride with are all faster, and they're always sharing their best tips, tricks, and strategies. And then it was only a matter of time before I was keeping up with them, right? So if you're the expert and you're out there sharing tips and strategies, it's only a matter of time before your prospects, the right ones, are coming to you instead of you having to chase them. Now, when I got started, short form content wasn't even really a thing. So I went straight to YouTube. Mainly because it was free to host videos and I was cheap. But I was building my email list by running some simple paid ads to a lead magnet. I'd shoot one video a week, I'd email that out, and I'd let the value of that video do a lot of the heavy lifting. But if I were starting today, I definitely wouldn't jump into ads so fast. Now I'd focus on short form content. I'd focus on Instagram posts and Reels and/or LinkedIn, and I'd be adding value and sharing my tips and connecting with new followers through warm, genuine outreach. Then I'd layer in YouTube and longer content to deepen that trust. It's all about building relationships, not just blasting messages. So system 4 is you building out your acquisition system. This is how you attract clients, by building that trust and authority. So people are coming to you pre-sold, ready to work with you. So here's what your acquisition system will likely look like, right? The acquisition system consists of a few key parts. First, we have to create demand, right? And we can do that through, like I said, short form content, long form, like these videos. We could use paid ads, and you might be able to have partnership relationships, okay? Now, the purpose of those 4 things is really to capture demand, okay? Now, capturing demand happens a few different ways. First, we like lead magnets, like a VSL, which kind of is a sales asset. It's a short video that breaks down who you are, what you're about, shares your worldview, who you're for, who you're not, those sorts of things that you really would want someone to consume before they end up getting on some sort of sales conversation. We also give them more long form content in the form of YouTube videos. We stay connected through email. We get them to make low ticket transactions by selling products. And then we also can qualify and move them through by social selling, which is getting into the chats. Now, like I said, I don't like DMing people, but in your short form, if you are doing short form, you're going to see your audience growing, people following you or connecting with you on LinkedIn. The chat, the social selling, is you warm outbounding everyone that is engaging with your content, okay? If I'm under 20 to 25K a month, I'm probably starting with short form, then I'm adding long form, then I'm going to paid, And then probably I'm going to partnership after that as I've built a name for myself. But you got to have these, capture devices. Really, this is about nurture in order to bring people along. Then the last piece of this system is convert demand, right? So like I said, we convert demand either using the consultation engine, which is really just a 2-call process, and or an asynchronous sales method where we are eliminating that second call, actually eliminating calls altogether, and we're letting people fill out an application and we send them a couple strategic assets that move them across the line. This is more advanced. I would start here and then get to here when you are mastering your message and you are converting people a lot higher. And also your audience is growing rapidly. That's where I would focus on that. Now, based off of these, you end up then selling them obviously to the last piece, which is fulfilling demand, but that's a different system. The reality is the more time prospects spend with you and your content, the faster they're going to trust you. And that's why long form is a non-negotiable, in my opinion. It does the heavy lifting before you ever get onto any sort of a sales call. Now, if you want to make these 4 systems work for you, it all starts with a productized offer. And you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. I've broken it down in a dead simple step-by-step process that you can watch in under 25 minutes right here in this video. Now, this is the exact method I use to scale to 100K a month. And people who have already put it into action are raving about how it's transformed their agency. So check that out right now.